Oh, we're live on YouTube.
Patrick?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Good. We would like to promote Bill Danhoff. Probably you can promote Gerald and Megan to panelists, please.
We're live on YouTube.
Patrick?
Yep. Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Good. We would like to promote Bill Danhoff. Probably you can promote Gerald and Megan to panelists.
We're live on YouTube.
Will do.
Patrick?
Yep. Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Good. We would like.
All right, Patrick, are we good to go?
Yes, we are. I believe everyone's promoted to panelists who needs to be.
Okay, just a reminder when you answer about your attendance tonight, where you're at. So that you're in Calhoun County. So you're all set, Patrick?
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. I call to order the February 4th, 2021 Board of Commissioners regular session. In accordance with Section 3 Michigan Open Meetings Act, the clerk will note the record this meeting is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to a local declaration of emergency adopted by the Board of Commissioners on March 18th, 2020 and extended on October 15th, 2020. All members are attending remotely with video activated during the call. Each member will indicate they are currently located in Calhoun County, or if not, the county, city, village, or township in the state from which they are attending the meeting remotely. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Commissioner Derek King,
Present here in Ceresco, Michigan, Calhoun County.
Commissioner Tommy Miller,
Present, Marengo Township.
Commissioner Gary Tompkins,
Present, Homer Township, Calhoun County.
Commissioner Kathy Sue Betty,
Here, Lakeview, Battle Creek.
Commissioner Rochelle Hatcher,
Present, Calhoun County, Michigan.
Commissioner Jake Smith,
Present, Battle Creek, Michigan.
and Commissioner Steve Frisbee.
Present in the city of Battle Creek tonight.
We are quorum.
All right, after a moment of silence, Commissioner Vetty, will you lead us in the pledge?
Sure will.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to
to the flag
Flag,
of the United States
United
of
States of
America
America,
and to the republic
to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty
with
and
liberties and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the February 4th, 2021 Board of Commissioners regular session agenda as presented?
So move, Miller.
Port Betty,
Miller and Betty, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners January 21st, 2021 regular session as presented?
So move Tompkins.
Support, Smith.
Tompkins and Smith, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is citizens' time. During citizens' time, the board chair shall recognize any person wishing to address the board. A person recognized by the chair shall call in and state his or her name and community of residence. The person may address the board only once on the same matter during each period set aside for citizens' time on the agenda and only on matters that are relevant to county government. The chair shall control the length of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes, and shall not allow negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. There's approximately a 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Patrick, do we have anybody? Would anybody like to address their commissioners?
So far, no one's in there.
Okay. We'll go for a minute. 7:06. Would anyone like to address their commissioners? Would anyone like to address their commissioners? Anyone in there, Patrick?
No, sir.
All right, we will move along. Any elected appointed county officials wishing to comment tonight? Nobody? All right, we'll move along. There is no special order of business tonight. Next item is we have a consent agenda with 33 items on them. You can pull any off that anybody would like. Most of them are dealing with appointments for committees. Appreciate all of your input in what you wanted to be seated upon. I think we met that as closely as we could. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved,
So
Betty.
moved. Support King.
Betty and King, any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Special committee workshop board reports. Anyone? See any hands raised? We did have
I got some,
go ahead, Commissioner Miller.
we met at the Marshall MLFDA, met on the 28th. And, Randy Davis, the superintendent of Marshall Schools, Alvin Schools, did a presentation. They're looking at doing a $30 to $40 million bond to do some improvements around the entire school district, and they're looking into building a new elementary school in the city of Albion. They're looking at maybe August of 21 for the election if it does go through. And we did a little discussion on the Blues Fest. They're going to delay it. They want to have it, but they're having discussion of maybe having a couple smaller bands and spread out throughout the town rather than having just one big band. So that's about it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Chair Frisbee.
Go ahead, Commissioner Betty.
Thank you. I just wanted to update everyone on, we had our February Summit Point Board meeting, and we had a update from Angela Deal. She is the Director of Youth Services, and we're working on a new program, and she does such a wonderful job. It serves 250 families, which is really, really needed right now, especially during this global pandemic. They even have peers that work with their clients or with our customers that are anywhere from 18 to 28 years old. There is now a therapeutic home program, which is evidence-based. It works in conjunction with the foster care program here in Calhoun County. And then it has a RAP program, which also involves, besides Summit Point, the local police departments and the courts and schools, and sometimes placing children in alternate homes. Oftentimes they have very serious emotional disturbances. So anyways, it's really a very involved program, and Angela does a wonderful job along with Dr. Sean Fields. And so I just wanted to let you know that. And Kelly is chair of our finance committee, and she generally gives us an update on that during her report. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we've had, I'll just give a quick one on Parks and Recs. We met today, elected the officers. I've been elected to chair again. Amber Cunningham is the vice chair, and Greg Strand will be the secretary. We also approved 2 new members on the board today, and I'll let Doug reach out to all 4 who requested to be seated for the 2 openings. It was nice to have some choices. We had 4 good choices and chose 2 folks that we thought were the best fit for right now. So I'll let Doug reach out to let before I announce who those are. We've had some initial discussions with the vice chair, myself, and Kelly, about how we report these committee assignments. We all now have, most of us have more committee assignments than we've had before. But we'll try to figure out some links so that we can look at minutes, not to supplant the reports here in the meeting, but so that if you have questions, you have a quick reference to be able to go to find information in what's going on all those committees. So anybody else?
I just have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Don't we appoint the entire Parks and Recreation Commission?
No, we appoint the board chair as the automatic appointment. I'm not sure if we have to confirm the other appointments or not. I'll have to, do we, Kelly?
The county board does appoint all of the members of the Parks and Rec Commission. The state statute just designates the industries or the various seats that are required to be on a Parks and Rec Commission, but they have staggered terms. And so the issue right now is there are no other terms that are up, other than we appoint the county representative, the county commissioners, to coincide with the county board term. So the other people on there have various terms that are not up for renewal right this moment.
Right. Okay. We have no unfinished business, so new business and county administrator's report. I'll turn it over to County Administrator Controller Kelly Scott.
Mr. Chair, last Friday we had our State of the Community address held differently via Zoom this year. Traditionally, the Battle Creek Chamber has done the State of the Community to just include the city of Battle Creek and the county. This year, the chamber went forward with a different format to focus on economic development, which I think worked out well, and it allowed for our local governments to give updates and to be expanded to include the cities of Marshall, Albion, and Springfield. And because we didn't have to try to fit people from all over the county in one room and the cost of feeding them, it worked really well this year. We've included in my written update report that will go out tonight, we've included a link to that. Thank you to the city of Battle Creek for streaming that on their YouTube channel. So Updates from boards and committees. The Board of Health met last week on January 25th. Really just a lot of updates about the very positive feedback we're hearing on the mass vaccination clinics. The Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance Board met January 26th. We have a fairly new CEO, Jim Durian, and good news is budget is coming in a little bit better than we had hoped this year as far as mainly hotel accommodations tax. So MEDA is doing a lot, as are the other communities, to try to continue to support downtown, support the restaurants, and focus on economic development efforts. There's a group in the county, mainly being led by the Battle Creek Community Foundation, that is starting to explore how we can extend broadband internet access to the entire county, which is of course a really large initiative, just trying to bridge the digital divide. So the first step is engaging a consulting firm to do some sort of a survey to make sure that we have the right data about who has access to broadband internet and who does not. So there are several of us from the county that are participating. The county has not been asked at this point to play a more formal role in that initiative, but I think we might be. And there's also a need right now for organizations to contribute funds to pay for that survey data collection. Some of our county officials, including Commissioner King and Sheriff Hinckley, participated in the monthly community partnership meeting sponsored by Harper Creek Superintendent Rob Ridgway, called Beyond the Cereal Bowl. So that happened on January 28th. It's a really good opportunity to hear updates on what's going on with our school system and their COVID response, as well as just key speakers. This time, one of the featured speakers was Dr. Adrian Bennings, the new president of Calhoun Community College. Our Battle Creek Rotary Board met on January 29. I continue to serve as treasurer, and we are, of course, like all service organizations who are meeting virtually right now, struggling with membership, and also our finances are doing well, mainly because we're continuing to invoice our members for meals. So we talked about, what to do if members don't want to pay for meals because we're not providing meals, but we're using that funding to help increase our efforts to back into the community. The treasurer, Brian Wensauer, has been reporting about what's called the Raffaelli case. So basically a recent court ruling that impacts the treasurer's ability to handle surplus funds that he receives through sale of foreclosed properties. There was new legislation passed that clarifies the process that counties have to go through to allow for people to make claims on those properties, and that starts this year. So Brian and his staff, Krista Trout Edwards from the Land Bank, and then our legal counsel, Jim Dyer, and I attended basically a training session put on by a company called Title Check, who does a lot of work with county treasurers across the state. So we have a better handle on how that all has to work so that we can be in compliance. And we will do some follow-up meetings just to make sure that that's ready to go starting this spring and in the summer. Let's see what else. The Summit Point Board, as Commissioner Vetti mentioned, met on February 2. We should expect a couple of board appointments and reappointments to come to the County Commission in March for those individuals on our board that have terms that are ending. The finances of Summit Point are strong right now. There's increased Medicaid funding available to mental health workers. There is an increased number of eligible individuals, and there's also a $2 per hour boost in pay for frontline providers that work for Summit Point. So volume is just generally up, and then at the same time, we're moving forward to relocate the Summit Point facilities to the new building that we purchased. So that, coupled with a lot of big grant funding, and then the initiatives that Kathy Sue mentioned to really continue to focus on the youth and the mental health needs in our community, as well as working with the sheriff to follow up on the collaborative that our board adopted, I want to say a couple of years ago, called the Stepping Up Initiative, to try to figure out how to better deal with mental health issues in our jail. So That is my report on boards and committees. I do want to give just a quick update on the county's COVID response. Today, the MDHHS issued a new order on gatherings and masks, basically renewed almost everything except for, you've probably heard this, the reopening of high school sports, which was a big issue in Michigan. As far as the restrictions on gathering, those were just renewed through the end of March. And so the restrictions on indoor gatherings are no more than 10 individuals from no more than 2 households. And essentially that limits public entities like us from holding in-person meetings through the end of March. The Joint Operations Center has reduced the briefings to the public from 2 days a week to 1 day. So now those are on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. And then the county has decided for most of our non-union employees to reopen the work share program, which we did last summer, which is a state program that is supplemented with federal unemployment insurance that allows employers to reduce the workload, the hours of their employees without laying people off. You're required to maintain benefits. And so we're doing a similar program to last year where it's a 20% reduction in work, which is basically 1 day a week. Many of I think it's 83 of our non-union employees will be furloughed. Right now, the program is only authorized through the middle of March. And we're just trying to, again, be proactive with the tools we have to work with, knowing that this year's budget is balanced, but we could definitely use any general fund budget flexibility that this would create. And the estimated savings are about $30,000 per pay period. So even if this is just only a month and a half, creates $100,000 in savings for this year's budget. And I do expect that might get extended. The COVID positive count for county employees remains at 57. So I think that's about 8% of our total population tested positive for COVID. And since the beginning of the pandemic last March, so almost a year ago, we've had about 190 employees with some sort of exposure needing to be quarantined or isolated. They have all been released from that quarantine and isolation and are back to work. So I do want to thank some of the commissioners who've been volunteering with the mass vaccination clinics for our seniors. I'll be volunteering next Friday for one in Battle Creek on February 12th. And I think things are going pretty well. We're starting to, I guess, plan for remote work to continue likely through the end of April, kind of tracking with what the state has reported this week that their employees will be doing. So I think that is it for my report.
Excuse me, Kelly.
Yes.
What was the percentage positive of countywide residents, did you say?
8.
Not residents, just out of our employees. So we have 700 or so county employees, and out of all of our employees, 57 of them cumulative have tested positive since the beginning.
Okay.
So roughly 5 out of 7. The COVID numbers countywide continue to trend down, and we're tracking pretty closely with the region and the state, hovering around 7% countywide testing positive, and then we're right around 20 to 30 per day. So it's good news, and we hope those trends continue.
Yeah.
So under new business tonight, we have 2 items, and I don't, it may seem like it's a quiet board meeting again. Typically at the beginning of the year, we see this, but I want to assure you a lot is going on, and even from the purchasing perspective, a lot of bid awards will be coming as we get into in the next few months. So for now, new business tonight, we have item 12B1, which is the request that you approve a notice of intent to issue 2021 pension obligation bonds and the required comprehensive financial plan that goes along with that. We're honored to have tonight with us our bond counsel, Bill Danhoff, and our financial advisor, Bobby Benzinski. Thankfully, they didn't have to drive here from Lansing. Right
Thank
tonight.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're happy to have them here. They've been with us, all along. And just a reminder to the commissioners, The initiative to address our unfunded liabilities for our defined benefit plans have been in the works for several years. And I went back and looked at the history, even just for the last few years. Back in 2017, before we closed our divisions that were still open to new hires, we had about $40 million in unfunded liabilities across all of the divisions, and that does include our road department that we inherited their divisions. We were about 64% funded. We had an annual spend out of our budget of about $3.7 million a year just to pay into MERS the cost for these pension plans. The next year, we were able to negotiate closing one of the road commission's old plans, and then one of the ones with the highest level of unfunded liabilities for the county, which was the sheriff's supervisory plan. That essentially boosted our funded portion to 79%, and it lowered our annual spend to about $2.5 million. Then MERS did an experience study and changed the actuarial assumptions. So when we look at the 2019 actuarial valuation, we went back down to 76% funded. We went up to 29 million in unfunded liabilities, and our annual spend was required to be back up to about 3.5 million a year. So that just sort of illustrates that when we do take steps to, it seems like we take one step to improve our situation, and then we're subject to, the terms of the defined benefit world, which has a lot to do with the actuarial assumptions and then the investment returns in the market. And so there's a lot of volatility there. So it feels like we were taking one step forward and ending up two steps back. So in 2020, at the beginning of the year, we were successful in negotiating with the sheriff's non-supervisory group, POAM, and then our countywide Division 1 MERS group. The countywide group has 344 active employees. The sheriff's group has 170 active employees. So that represented about half of our total unfunded liability, just historically. All of those unions agreed that it was in our best interest to close those plans to new hires. New employees since February of last year and going into our 401k with a match that is very competitive with what other employers offer. And so following that, plan has always been in order to address the unfunded liabilities, to issue pension obligation funds, make the debt a fixed amount and pay MERS upfront for the unfunded liabilities, get rid of that volatility going forward, and then reinvest some of the savings into the match for the 401k so that we can continue to attract and retain quality employees across the county. So this is really it's not the last step, but it's kind of the second to the last step in the process. We are required to issue a notice of intent to the public. This will get published in our newspapers. The public has a 45-day referendum period to comment on that. We're also required to produce the comprehensive financial plan that we've attached to the agenda, which basically explains the narrative. It lists what all of our divisions have, what the unfunded liabilities are, what the savings will be. And in this case, we're requesting a not to exceed amount of $30 million, even though if you look at our valuation from MERS, the total is more like 27 million. MERS is pointing out to us that they are again changing the assumptions. And when we get to next year, we can expect that to jump up to closer to 30. So we need to create a not to exceed amount that doesn't limit us artificially to an amount that's too low. But with that, because these groups had some pretty rich benefits and some, just long-term legacy costs, the estimated savings with pretty low interest rates on the bond market, the estimated savings could be up to 40%, so $11 million over the life of a 20-year bond. So I really think that we've come a long way. Once we get these unfunded liabilities paid off, there is still some risk. So we bond for not 100%, but close to it. And so you'll see, if you look at our comprehensive plan, you'll see that all of those other groups that we've already issued bonds for already have closed. They still have a really small amount. So we continue to pay the normal cost. This does not change the benefit amount for any of our current employees that are in these plans. They will retire when they're ready to retire, and they'll get the benefit that they were promised. And in the meantime, we've been able to lower their rates for the employees to help their paychecks. And then also, again, it will create some savings for our taxpayers, and then just allow us to really, stop the bleeding on a growing liability. So our unfunded liability for these two groups have gone up by about $1 million each for the last 3 years. So it was just getting worse. And this is a really good opportunity that the state legislature created a few years ago to allow local governments to have the legal authority to deal with our unfunded liabilities. Really thankful that we were able to get that level of collaboration with our union groups and under the leadership of our HR director, Kim Archambault. This is a pretty heavy lift, but we're almost there. The final step will be once we get past the 45-day referendum, bring forth the final bond authorizing resolution for the board. And then we really hope to get the bonds sold before the end of the second quarter of this year, and be able to, start to accrue those savings. And I really, again, I appreciate Bill Danhoff and Bobby Benzinski being here. And I want to give them an opportunity to just give you some, I guess, update on the market and talk about, in their opinion, why they're supporting that we go ahead with this. So I don't know who wants to start. But I would.
Bobby can.
Okay, Bobby, say a word or two.
You're muted, Bobby.
That's when he does his best work.
Thanks, Bill. Kelly laid it out very well. I really can't say much more. Interest rates are extremely favorable still in today's marketplace. Right now, if you were to take this deal to market, you would be looking at an interest rate fixed for the duration of the bonds of 2.5% or less.
Wow.
So it's very good time to go out to the market. We agree with Kelly's analogy and using the not to exceed $30 million number. The bond issue is going to be in the range of about $27.4 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. But again, we will define this as we get much closer. We will work with MERS to make sure that we can borrow as much as we can under the state rule law that allows you to borrow 95% or a portion of 95% of your unfunded liability. And the timetable that Kelly laid out is absolutely correct. We hope to have this completed by June 30th. I have nothing else. Bill, do you have anything to say?
I would just say we prepared the resolution you have before you. It's in proper form for your adoption. And we will assist in getting the notice of intent published and get the 45 days running. And I would concur in everything else that Kelly said, and also that she laid out in her memo to you as to the conditions necessary to issue this bond issue later this year.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the notice of intent to issue 2021 pension obligation bonds and approval of the comprehensive financial plan as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support, Betty.
Tompkins and Vetty. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. 2 follow-up comments. I want to thank Gerald Shepke and our finance office, our deputy controller for creating the comprehensive financial plan. I just want to mention, we also are required to go meet with Treasury, whether virtual or not. State Department of Treasury does have to approve our bond issuance, and then we will have to also get a new bond rating. So some more work to be done. The second and final item under new business tonight is item 12B2. This is a road department bid award, RFB 120-20. This is for chip seal material called slag that is, in this case, just for Calhoun County, not a joint purchasing initiative with Jackson County, mainly due to Jackson County Road Department's budget limitations, at least to start the year. So the recommendation is to award the bid to Yellow Rose, who is the incumbent, and by the way, was also the only bidder. The price, as you've been hearing from Brad Wilcox, prices for materials in construction are going up. This one went up considerably by about 21%. The total budget is estimated at about $200,000 for this material for our fiscal year, and it is built into the road department budget. And we did get a question from one of the commissioners or more this last week. We appreciate those questions that asked, okay, if the costs are going up by 21%, why don't you consider a different material? And the answer we got from John Midgley, who's here tonight, and he can answer questions as well as Brad, but basically it has to do with, I'll call it customer service. This material is much more friendly to the motoring public who has to drive over it and not have the other material that we could have chosen. Has to do with looser stones that fly up and break windshields and do bad things to your cars. So that's the recommendation. And again, we've got our experts here to answer questions if you have them.
All right, let's can I have a motion to approve RFB number 122-20 chip seal slag award as presented?
So moved, Vetty.
Court Miller.
Betty and Miller, is there any discussion?
I just got one thing to say.
Go ahead.
I do agree that the, pea stone that we've used in the previous is a little more rougher on cars. I know Morgan Road was one of the first roads we did when the county took over the road commission, and that held up really well. It's been 8 or 9 years. And at that time, we never went back and swept the roads off. And now we got better practices. We actually go within a couple of days and sweep the roads off. And I would like to see maybe try it out for a couple miles of road, try some pea stone and see if it's still have an issue with cracked windshields as we had in the past.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Fetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
that's 7 yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Our next item is citizens' time. Same rules apply as during the first citizens' time. Please limit your time to 3 minutes and no negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Anybody in the queue, Patrick?
No one in the queue.
Okay, we'll wait 1 minute. Anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Anyone who'd like to address their commissioners? All right, we'll move along. Commissioners' time. Anybody tonight?
Chair Frisbee.
Go ahead, Commissioner Betty.
Thank you. I wanted to say a couple of quick thank yous. One of them to Susan Connolly. She is our admin and helps Kelly and our county attorney, Jim Dyer, also. And she has answered some phone calls from at least some of the citizens that live in my district. And she conducts herself so professionally, and she just does a wonderful job. And I want to thank her publicly for that. I really, really appreciate it because she makes us all look really good.
I would concur.
Yeah. And then I have volunteered a couple of times now at the COVID clinics, and I cannot express to all of you what a great job our county is doing. And it's just so nice. And I know that it is taking a little bit to get your name on the list, but once you're there, you're in and out of there. I last week timed people that I knew when they came in, and they were in and out of there in 25 minutes. I mean, it is so well organized. It is just amazing. Eric Pessel, our health officer, is very engaged and is doing a wonderful job, as is Carla Fales, who is the director of Carewell Services, who really has a passion for the seniors and really knows them so well. And she's amazing, and she's so kind with them. And she's just delightful to watch. And I've just been so inspired by all of it. And today was it was your second vaccination at the Y, and that went even quicker. And so they learned that they needed even less volunteers today. So anyways, just it's very impressive.
I would add to that the only thing that's holding us back from vaccinating more people is the availability of vaccine to the health department. It's not the health department's fault.
Right.
It's the distribution of the vaccine. So they're doing, as soon as they get it, they're putting it out as quick as they can. They're doing a fabulous job.
Mr. Chair, just real quickly.
Yes.
I just want to indicate as well as I would certainly echo Commissioner Betty's comments. Every comment that I've heard from constituents as well is that they're really appreciative of the incredible work that's been done at the Calhoun County Health Department. So certainly kudos to each and every one of them who are working extra beyond belief, if you will, to get the job done. So we certainly thank each and every one of them for their work. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, Commissioner, excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. Commissioner Frisbee and commissioners, I just want to take the time to announce that I have been made aware of a citizen who is 90 years old, just turning 90 years old, which is absolutely wonderful during COVID, this period. But anyway, I just wanted to say her name is Catherine King. She will be turning 90 years old. I believe it's on February 8th, and I had to do it for this meeting to recognize her. She's known as Mama Cat, Cat King. She has so many different names, but her name is Mrs. Catherine King, and she will be turning 90 on February 8th. And I will be forwarding through and sending the family a proclamation, but I just wanted to also make the announcement too. And she is still living on her own. So that's great kudos also too. I think the only thing the family does not like her to do is go to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I could understand that too. So I just want to say happy birthday to Mrs. Catherine King.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other commissioners? What I wanted to say was about the pension bonds. And when I became a commissioner in 2011, seated, I talked a lot about pensions, but I wanted to proceed in a manner that protected the employees and protected the taxpayers. And I tell you, we have steadily moved that direction, and I'm very proud of our administrative team. I'm very happy with our union folks that have had the foresight to understand and let themselves figure out that we weren't taking them down a pathway that was bad for them. It was good for everybody involved. And I love the fact that we're we're reaching that point where we're getting a lot more secure in our pension funding. So congratulations and thank you. And Kim, I know you've had a lot of work in that, and that wasn't easy work. So thanks for doing that. Yep. All right. Can I have any other announcements or Commissioner time? All right, we'll move on to claims payable. Can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County claims payable for January 15th, 2021 through January 28th, 2021 in the amount of $4,667,673.23 as presented?
So moved, Betty.
Support Smith.
Betty and Smith, any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries. Are there any announcements?
Real quickly, Chair, if I could.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Hatcher's comments relative to, by the way, happy birthday to Mama Cat. They're absolutely turning 90. That's an incredible feat. I hope that we all get a chance to get to that point one day. But I think we would be remiss if we didn't also recognize Miss Ellen Goodwill, who turned 114 years old on February 2nd. Battle Creek native, the oldest person in the state of Michigan, I believe. She is the oldest, and I believe she's 4th or 5th in the United States. So I had the opportunity to meet with her and speak with her at the 2019 Centenarian Luncheon, and I can tell you what an absolute treat she is.
Yeah.
To be that many years young, if you will, and still be of incredible mind, and to be able to tell the stories. Just think about the history that she's endured, she's seen, and certainly the stories she could tell. So we certainly want to recognize Miss Ellen Goodwill for her birthday. Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other announcements? I'll just finish up with the Red, White, and Blue Foundation, which was a foundation that was began by, it was the thought process of Dave Morgan. And it's in place to mostly honor veterans in Calhoun County and fill some gaps where we need to fill them. But it's also a group that was put together back in probably 2015 that we're honoring students who are entering into the military service before they go. So it's a neat organization. I'm honored to be part of it. We approved our bylaws last week, so we're off and running. And you'll hear more about the activities of the Red, White, and Blue Foundation as we go along. So any other announcements? All right. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to sign off tonight because I'm going home.
Have a good evening, everybody.
My head is full.
I bet it is. Absolutely.
Oh,
All right.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Do you get the weekend off at least?
What's that?
You have the weekend off, right?
Yeah, I probably made a mistake in coming back to work today, so it is what it is.
Frisbee.
Yeah, some of us are stubborn fools and we just don't learn.
Well, yes, you are. And there's a couple of you in this picture right now. So anyway, somebody's got to smother you, right?
Right. Right. All right, kids. Take care.
All right. See you
Absolutely.
guys.
Have a great evening, folks.
Drive safe.
Yep. Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you, Macklin.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope you feel better, honey.
Thank you.
See you.
I can't sit.